Hi dear students, today I'm going to discuss three topics which is very important for you all as a special educator, as a teacher and other professional, because these three important topics, that means the three important factor, that is documentation, record maintenance and report writing, is very important to maintain or to keep the data. So we are going to see how this three factor is connected to preschool and primary school, which is called implication of the documents or the records or the report writing at the preschool. So let us understand one by one, and then we will be very clear. So various acts and policies require that an evaluation must be comprehensive and assess all the area if there is a suspicion of the disability in the child. Okay, so and it is important for the special educator and clinicians or psychologists to involve other assessment staffs, that means other stakeholder, that means a parent, that means a speech therapist, that means all other, because it's a teamwork, it is a multidisciplinary team to address the educational and behavioral concern for students who are not meeting the grade level expectations, so that it can be reported, it can be documented, it can be maintained for future reference. Okay, which is very important. So in this we are going to understand the standard formats which is designed to understand all these three factors, like reporting, documenting and maintaining. See, first, if you go to the school or if you go to the typical NGOs, or you will find a reason, the referral forms. So what is the reason of for the referral? This is very important, which we need to understand initially. Then background information and developmental history, the medical history of the child is very important. You can see this kind of formats in the school as well as in the central government and agencies. Okay, and then standardized assessment or test, like your FACP, like your MDPS, like your Nimhan LD, like your any other psychological tool, that is all standardized assessment tool to identify the children's level, children's educational level. Okay, and non-standardized assessment method, that is observation in the natural setting, and then activity within the natural setting, and previous evaluation document, because that you are not doing to you know assess standardized, that is all non-formal assessments or documents, which is very important to gather. And then behavioral observed during assessment, the behavior observed during the assessment, that is also a kind of recording, a kind of documentation, where you observe the child and try to write down the information of progress in the academic or curricular. That information also, that kind of format is also available to chart the current level of the child. And then you have academic, functional and social performance, information on classroom assessments, information from others, maybe a teacher, parents or any other stakeholder who are directly involved for the welfare of child's learning or child's improvement. Student portfolio on his disabling condition, medical history, thought, desire, wish, strength, weaknesses, which is very important to understand. Okay, and impression and summary report, you have some sort of summary or feedback reports also available with the school or with the NGOs, where you try to get those information and try to understand the educational facilities, I mean to say educational level of the child, and the recommendation for future intervention and support, which is very important. So that all kind of formats you need to use to help the child evaluate and find out the educational level of the child. So this is how it looks, but we are going to categorize what is document, what is report, and how we are maintaining it. So let us understand and find out the method of documenting. Okay, so I have listed few. Let us see the various there are various methods of documentation to evaluate for children with special need, out of which IP format, which you all know. Anyways, I am going to upload a video on how to prepare the IEP, that is individualized educational plan, in detail, so that you can understand better, because it is an document, it is a written document, made by the special educators with the help of parents, psychologists, speech therapy. That means a teamwork. So I think this is a best method of documenting the child's need. Then checklist used for assessment and programming. It might be FACP, it might be MDPS, it might be your enhanced LD, or any other checklist which you have used for assessing and preparing the program. That also is a document which is seen in the future. And the task analysis checklist. See, task analysis checklist is what, where you break down the activity, where you break down the task into a smaller step, and then logically you arrange now to teach. That is your task analysis. In task analysis checklist, you're going to write a series of steps which I have to teach, and the session and the day and the time when the child has achieved that particular thing. So that is also one kind of document. This is how you can document the things. Okay, then graphs is also a very important method to document the things, because graph tells where my child's strength, where my child's weaknesses, where my child stand on that particular domain. So which is very, very important. Then work sample, it might be a sample of your activity, the worksheets, whatever you have given to the child. So that is again a document, method of documenting the child's abilities and the strength. Then the anecdotal record, which is very, very important. Most of the schools you can see this anecdotal record, which is called time to time observation, minute to minute observation, where the child is going, what child is doing, what kind of activity the child is indulged with. So you are going to note down in a record, and so that it can be documented in future, which we can refer. So this is how a method of documenting work. There are other ways we can just mention, think over in what way you can do it, whereas I have already uploaded a video on documenting and record maintenance, I think. So you can just check it out with that. In that I have clearly explained what is document, examples of document, and why it is important. Okay, so you can just check it out. So here, this is the way how you do the documentation. Now let us see and understand why record maintenance. Why record maintenance? See, record maintenance can be done in three ways. Okay, one is mandatory permanent student record. See, for example, when the child comes to you first, you try to do the screening, that is your recording. That means you're recording the things initially, and then it will become a document later. So mandatory permanent students record, let us see what kind of thing. See here, like may be required by the board or a state or a central agency for to chart their strength and weaknesses, which you have just recorded. So which is very, very important. This is mandatory permanent student record, which is required, which is meant to be a record, which is meant to be a information for those particular agencies. Usually it includes identification of the child's informations, and then from where they are, what kind of subject they are taking, in which class they are, whether they have immunized earlier, whether they have taken any graduation, what is his school history, when he has come out of the school. These all details will be in the mandatory permanent students record, which is very, very important at the beginning. and the second, mandatory interim students record. In this, what happened, it is for a stipulated period of time, and it includes health information, special education information, language training records, progress reports, parental restrictions, parent guardians, and student challenges to record, parent guidance to authorize provisions for the student participation in certain program, and result of standardized test. These are all records which is very, very important in the maintenance area, in the maintenance, when you try to maintain those things, this record is required. Okay, this is how you maintain the record for the future. This is how you maintain the record whenever the client comes first to you and you try to engage or try to give the information after authorization. And third one is permitted student record. See, it includes the counselor teacher rating scales. When you go to the school, the counselor give you some scale to find out the level of the child. Standardized test also, which is older than 3 years, that kind of record also is maintained. So make sure that record which you have maintained after 3 years, that only you need to keep it. Then routine discipline, behavior report, discipline notice, and the attendance records. For example, you have attendance in your school or colleges, so that is students record, that is permitted students record, which can be seen, or you have a notice board where you a lot of informations are there. So once you remove that, you try to maintain those record for the future purpose. Okay, so these are the three important ways how we can maintain the records. Okay, so let us understand and how we do the report writing, which is again very, very important factor. See, report writing should be done individually. It should not be done in group. Generally, teacher tend to write a stereotype remark. Okay, so there will be a lot of bias. Whatever you have assessed, you have not mentioned in the report writing. So make sure that teacher should not be so biased. Okay, for example, he is poor in writing, he is poor in reading. Don't speak and depend upon the mother for the personal needs. So you should not write like that. You should write in a positive way. Okay, for example, rather writing a poor in writing, we can write he is able to write his name, number up to 10, and so on, because you need to exactly tell what the child is able to write. If he is poor in writing, that means it doesn't make any sense how much the child is able to write. So in that way, what you have to do, you need to, when you write a report, you need to write in a positive way how much the child exactly knows what he is in that particular area. So that is what you need to remember in this. So there are certain purpose why we do a report writing. So to express our findings, for example, after doing my assessment, I need to give the report. So that is my findings. So I want to express my findings against the child. So it helps to share the finding. Of course, after preparing, I will be sharing to the parents, to the teachers, to the management, to the other stakeholders, those who want to work with the child. So that is very, very important purpose, to advance and spread the knowledge. Of course, this is what child's, the medical, best example is your medical report of the children with autism spectrum disorder or intellectual disability or any other, because in that you spread the knowledge. This is the child is belongs to this category, child has this percentage when he goes for the admission or for any concession, to so that the people can get advantage, okay, of scientific verifications. So this is very, very important, and to generate and invite future research. Okay, so that future there is something, some option is open for the future purpose, so that we can understand more about the child. Okay, now let us we can interpret the result of report. So there are two ways interpretation of results in qualitative way and one is quantitative way. Let us see first what is qualitative way, how we can use a qualitative data to interpret. So here we are not going to explain in the numbers, we are not going to tell the child has achieved this many numbers or this many percentage in the percentage, okay, rather we are going to try to answer why question, okay, why it happened. So you try to answer. For example, the child has a difficulty in reading, so why, attaching the significance to the particular the particular result, particular informations, and putting the pattern in the form of analytical framework. That is your quantitative data. Whereas qualitative data, whereas in a quantitative data it's simply the process of showing the results with the data or the number. What number is revealing, how many percentage my child has achieved, that is very very important in this quantitative analysis. So I think we have understood. So we will see you with the next topic. Till then, bye.